Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. And welcome to Truth in Her podcast. Yay.
Episode number...
7.
7.
Yeah.
Episode number 7.
Today we're going to be talking about career anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Career anxiety.
We're both 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we know a lot of people our age struggle with this.
Yes.
I think at our age we're expected to know what we want to do. There's a lot of pressure from school, from society, I'd say in general, with like, what is your job? What is your purpose? You know, what are you going to school for? You know, decide right now what you want to do so that you can start studying.
Exactly. And it's a very quick process after high school.
Yeah.
And like, as for me, like, I didn't start the process until after I graduated, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Whereas, like, some people, they start it way ahead of time.
Some people started, like, the first day of high school. I knew people who, like, had all their colleges already picked.
What?
Yep. By high school.
What?
By freshman year of high school, they were like, these are my 4 top colleges.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. And then that, too, like, when's too young? You know?
That's crazy. I mean, I wish I started a little younger.
Yeah.
You know?
I wish I started a little, like, I wish in COVID I was like, oh.
But I was just kind of, like, putting it off because I was, like, scared. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think so many people are like that, where they don't know what to do.
They're just kind of having fun, and they're, like, doing their sports, hanging out with their friends, you know.
Exactly.
Worried about right now. And, you know, there's a way that you can look at it that might help, that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
But you're right, like, a lot of, you know... There's just a lot of pressure from everybody. And I think, you know, the town that we come from is quite small. And it's quite academically, like, it's good academically.
Oh, yeah,
so,
definitely.
like, there
people
was...
were, like, super into it.
Sports, too, was big.
Super
like,
into it.
It was good to be a well-rounded student.
Yeah, like,
So coming from Haddon Township, like...
had to.
Yeah, it was... I know a lot of people had a good amount of anxiety, like, not knowing what they wanted to do.
I definitely did.
Yeah. I was more on the end of, like, kind of always interested of, like, these little weird things. Like, when I was, like, younger, I was, like... First, I wanted to be a ballerina, but that was just because I was dancing. And then I, like, would be really into weather. So, like, in 3rd grade, I was like, oh, I want to be a meteorologist. And then it was, like, an archaeologist. It was a lab tech for a little while. So, like, I always kind of explored, like, weird little things that I liked. But then, like, when it really got to high school, I was never, like, thinking about, okay, when is it going to start? When does it, like, become reality? When am I, like, really making decisions to become that person of doing that?
You, like, don't know what to do, so you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start.
So for me, it was a matter of, like, tapping into what I loved and tapping into, again, who I was when I'm, like, being creative, being, like, excited to learn and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I never really thought about what I wanted to be when I grow up, I think. Like, I don't know. I just enjoy, like... my friends and family, and
yeah, like,
I didn't really want to think about that.
The face-to-face conversations.
Yeah, like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna have, like, an adult job. Like, that sounds so boring to me.
Right.
Like, I'm not interested in
exactly.
any of that.
And, like, you know, what 13-year-old is gonna be like, oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have a 9 to 5.
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
No, definitely. So I think then when it comes, like, sometimes for some people it can hit you like a ton of bricks, being like,
yeah,
whoa, slow down, I'm still a child. But, you know, I guess college came, and we both were kind of like, it came to a point when Mary was like, hey, like, what do I do? Like, you know, what should I do? And I was already going to Camden County at the time, and I was like, you should come to Camden County.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this because it's easy. Camden County was so easy to get into. So I was like, I'll just take classes, and I just went with it. And I started off with a business major, and I did that because, like, I wanted to eventually be, like, a business owner and start my own thing. But then I realized that I wasn't going to get that kind of knowledge in the business school because they mostly teach more of, like, how to work for somebody else's business kind of stuff. I mean, there are some knowledgeable classes, But I was like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore. So then I switched my major to psych, and I was really stressed about that because I was like, I feel like all the work I put into my first 2 semesters being a business major is like down the drain, and now I have to restart everything. But I was able to make it back, and you survive.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
What was your decision what made you decide, like, okay, I want to go to school? Like, you were in a place where you didn't know what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. What made you decide, I want to go to school rather than just work? Like, what was your decision process there?
I mean, I'm the type of person that won't not do something.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I want to do things to progress in my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to just stay still.
Right.
And I felt like me taking a gap year or something was just not something I would do. And it just felt wrong to not, take action or step into a place like that.
Right.
I felt for me, it would feel like I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like, what would it hurt to just go to Camden County?
Right, like it's
I'm just
better to do something
and then you
rather
were doing
than nothing.
it.
Yeah.
You were doing it, so I was
Right.
like, okay, this is a good option. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's good too. Like, I think that's a good way to look at it is like, I don't have no idea what I'm doing, but like it's better to do something. And if I find that something that I don't like, kind of like what you did, it's a redirection from God. And like, now you're on your way to like a whole nother path, and it's, like it's brought you, like, no's are important too. If anything, no's might be more important than yeses, because like, think about it. There's going to be a lot more no's in life than there are going to be yeses.
Yeah.
So it's better to have those no's and get through those no's, and then like you'll be closer to your yes. You'll be closer to be like, this is exactly what I want to do in my life. When you are going through those no's, figuring out what you don't want to do. Like
exactly.
You find out who you are in that process.
What you do want to do.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay to do something and then say that you don't like it and want to do something else.
It's 100% okay. It's 100% okay. I've totally had that anxiety too, where like I've told a bunch of people like, oh, this is my path, and like I really feel good about this and I'm going to do it. And then like eventually that doesn't end up happening. I have a redirection, and I'm just like, okay, how do I tell everybody? Like after I've told all these people that I want to do this, and I also made like a decision in my own brain, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Like I made a commitment to myself. But it's okay to like be like, you know what, I changed my mind. You can change your mind at any moment.
Yeah, you can change your mind.
Like literally any moment.
You can.
Like nothing holds you back, even if like you just got into the workforce.
Yeah.
Nothing holds you back. It's better to live truthfully to what your heart is rather than live a lie and like for some other external reason.
Yeah. Just do what you like to learn about and everything, and just and like we said earlier, like you can be happy doing anything. Yeah. Too, like do what you enjoy learning about, and then don't worry about the job outcome necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're at that place too where you're thinking like, okay, what do I want to do in my life? Don't think of it like that. Like that's the wrong question to ask. What career should I do? Ask rather, what do I enjoy right now? What in my day-to-day life do I find a lot of joy in that also like I can expand, that can become something that I can get money from, or something that can help a lot of people or bring people together, or can give me a lot of like how can I learn a lot from these certain things that I do. It's about like getting creative more so in the moment and feeling happy right now, and then eventually it'll bring you very close. Like then eventually you're gonna be happy in 5 years. And like don't set your expectations too high, especially in such a time of development and beginnings. Yeah, right. Don't have these crazy expectations of the outcome, because you're just getting started. Things are going to switch around. You are from a place where you don't know much. You gotta just like... And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you gotta be just in the journey, and then the outcome will come accordingly. And maybe it's something that you would have never expected. And so, it's good to also like keep yourself at a level of like acceptance, like accepting things and staying positive about things, because you might run into a job and
you know, it's good to have jobs and then be like, okay, I'm going to stay positive about this and really enjoy what I have out of every job I have, out of every class I have. And
Yeah,
really
because
live
there
in the
might
moment
be
that way.
there might be a place where you got yourself, you know, you decided you wanted something, and then all of a sudden like it doesn't feel the same, but you have to finish the class. You're right, like it's important to keep that faith and keep like this same kind of like, you know, willpower to be like, I want to get this done. I'm gonna, you know, I deserve to have the best achievements, so I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna do everything to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do, like, you know, whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to give up, like, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just enjoy the moment.
Be there fully for yourself and fully for, you know, your happiness and your well-being. And then in the now, and then later 5 years from now, you will still be happy because you're doing what you love.
Exactly. Like, don't take it too seriously, you know?
Right.
And, yeah, don't be scared to, you know, switch things up. I was really, really nervous about that, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's not, you know what your priorities are and get that done.
Yeah. And I also would say, like, for me too, I went to a couple counselors and it almost made me feel like worse about my whole process and like almost more confused as well. So sometimes it's a matter of picking the right mentor.
Definitely.
And picking and choosing who gets to talk about your future and who doesn't.
Exactly.
Who you're going to take advice from. You know, like
I've had terrible counselors.
Yeah, it's terrible. Even just people into everyday life. Like, I don't tell too many people my big plans anymore because, you know, when you do tell everybody, like, everyone's thinking about it. Everyone's like putting their own 2 cents in, and like that does carry some like not emotional debt, but like spiritual debt in some way.
And
like
even you speaking it can weigh down on you because you're like, oh, I already spoke it, but now I'm feeling something else.
Like speaking is different than doing.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'd rather tell somebody like, oh, I did this thing rather than I'm gonna do this thing. So and then in that process too, it almost becomes like a very personal journey with myself and like very just like cozy and like it's my promise, not anybody else's promise. And in that, then it's like it feels so good to do that for yourself rather than nobody else. And like it just makes you become like Madeline Dalton or Mary Gerber, you know, and putting that like that special twist that you might have compared to somebody else.
And it is good to hear from mentors too, because I know
it is
that like I really relied on that for a little bit because I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I wasn't interested in what school had to offer for a little bit and what kind of outcomes there was from that. Like I'm a very, like, more of a family-oriented person, whereas, like, a career-oriented person, I don't even know if that's a thing.
I'd say so.
I never really saw myself as, like, a career person. Of like, oh, I can't wait to have this job. And so I was like, okay, I really need a lot of help figuring this out. So I did have a couple of really good counselors that helped me. And, like, even now, like, I'm a psych major, and I've thought about, you know, I would be good at teaching. I would like to do, like, so many other things I've thought about, and at the end of the day I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with what I chose because I do like it, and I know it can get me into a good job. I know that I can enjoy any job that I put myself into. There's so many jobs out there that I have the ability to choose, so there's so many doors open for me that I'm not even worried about my future. And at the end of the day, like, it doesn't even matter. It matters a little bit, but it doesn't matter what kind of degree you get sometimes. So I wouldn't stress too much about that if you're stuck on, like, deciding, because it's not the end all be all. Like, if you get a degree in this, it's like, oh, well, you're close off to those. It's like, no, you can master in something else. You can do this.
Exactly.
You can get a job just for having a degree. Like,
right.
It's really not as deep as you think, and that's what I've definitely learned. So it's taken a lot of pressures off my shoulders of, like, what do I want to be, and just kind of go with it and just be like, I'm going to take these classes, and there's so many electives you can take.
Right. And I know too, like, that's the, like, the creative side of it all too. Like, like, I know that you know, the word career is like very intimidating. It's like,
It is.
and there's a lot of like, oh, you know, career means 9 to 5, work hard every day. And nobody who wants that. Like there was like a whole trend about like not even wanting,
Yeah.
like, oh, don't do a 9 to 5. Like who wants to be a slave to the system?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's true. Nobody wants to be a slave to the system, but there's so many jobs that are not like each job is different. Like literally each job is different. It's never like, you know, a career. Career is an odd word. And like for
Every job's different. There's so many
there's
jobs
so
too.
many different kinds of jobs.
So many.
And you know, if you're that same person like Mary, like if you didn't think you were like see yourself in like the workforce, maybe try to like think about how do you view a job? What does the job look like to you in your head?
Yeah.
And like when I was still in that process, like in high school, like thinking, okay, I don't want to do work. Like I'd actually rather have fun. So how can I bridge work and play? How can I bridge what I have fun doing, but then also like, you know, getting things done and like achieving things. And then that is how you find a purpose, because you feel like you're of service in that situation. You feel like you want to be there, you want to be serving, you want to be working. Like
Exactly.
it's important to have that desire of wanting to do it, because then, you know, at that point, it's not work anymore, it's play.
Exactly.
And it becomes enjoyable.
Exactly.
So dissolve your, if you're having a lot of confusion about this, dissolve your ideas about what a career is. Get curious on like how you're, you know, in what ways do you feel creative in your everyday life? How are you splitting work and play, and how can you bridge them?
Yeah.
You know, how can you feel happy and yourself inside of your work?
Yeah, and also like people nowadays put their career on a pedestal, and it's kind of like, oh, my name is Mary Gerber and I'm a psychologist.
It's like very like how much our society's run. Like,
yeah,
it's the first thing sometimes you ask people is like, what do you do for work?
Exactly.
I try to avoid that because I hate when people like that's like the end all be all.
Right. And I think it's important to also don't forget about your personal life, and don't put your career on a pedestal. Your career and what you decide to do is not the end all be all. It's not going to be what you're doing for the rest of your life. You know, think about your other priorities. Like, you know, do you want to have a family? You know, are you going to buy a house soon? What are the cool things you're doing? Like, are you getting really good in the gym? Are you doing this? Like, you have so many personal things that are also improving your life at the same time. So, you know, I think we can get so wrapped up in like, oh, what am I going to do with my career? I have to, you know, everything is going to school and working and all this, and it's like, what's going to come from that, and what's outside of that? And so let's balance those things and remember that our careers are not our identity, and we don't need to, you know, we don't need to think about it that much. And that's what I got wrapped into. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the biggest decision of my life, and I got to think so much about this. It's got to be the perfect thing, you know. I want to have no doubt about it, but that's just not reality. Like, you're going to grow and change. You're going to be like, I don't know if I like this as much anymore. You know, take a little direction this way, a little direction that way, but just know it's not everything. It's not everything, exactly. It's more like, and it's not even like a career choice. It's more of like a self-exploration. Yeah. It's a journey that you're going to go on. Yep. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and like, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's going to make you feel better about yourself if you stay true to like what you really want, and decide, like, you know, get creative in the moment, get creative in the now. Yeah. Definitely. I think you said that perfectly, Mary. Yeah. And I think also, like, along with that is, oh my gosh, I totally lost my point. That's happened to me too. That almost happened to me earlier. I had such a good point too. I had a good point earlier also. No, but yeah, it's not everything, and just do what you're interested in, you know? I like helping people and talking to people, so I'm going to go into psych. And like we said, there's so many jobs out there. If you just finish school with something, right, you'll be totally fine. Like, you don't have to rush. And there's like, you know, whatever happens is meant to be. Whatever doesn't happen was meant not to happen. And every no is a redirection. Every yes is like a press on the gas.
You know, get serious about like what do you know about yourself? What are you honest about yourself?
Yeah.
You know, it really is a self-exploration, and like it's a process you can have fun doing. I want to remind people that like it shouldn't be grueling. It shouldn't be something that like is like, oh, it shouldn't be stressful.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
And I know it can get like that.
Yeah.
But just know, like, don't take it too seriously.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. You know, it's a fun process. Like,
it's
that's
fun.
That's something you want to feel good doing.
Yeah.
So make sure that you feel that first. Make sure you feel good. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be, like, so ready to pick whatever you want to be. You'll feel so, like, yourself in that moment.
Yeah. And it's like... It's not the end-all, be-all. Like, even if you're on the fence about things, you know, don't think about it to death and be like, oh, I gotta find the perfect thing that's best for me.
Right.
You know? Roll with something.
Pick a step right now.
Pick a step.
Yeah.
And then even along the way, like, you can take so many electives of different kind of classes that you enjoy. Yeah. You can minor in something, you know.
Right.
You could change it. Anything. Like,
for example, this past semester, I retook a class because I didn't like my first grade. And during this past semester, I was retaking it, and then I also was like, okay, I'm going to take this one class just to make sure I can do it correctly. And then I also was like, okay, I don't want to just be doing that. Like, what else do I had some wiggle room. I was like, I want to try something new, something I'm really, really interested in. And over the summer at church, I was just, I was like, I don't even know how I stumbled upon it, but I got involved on the sound team. And I was like, that sounds really interesting. So then I decided to register for Intro to Audio Recording, as well as my calculus class that I was retaking. And it has like that weird step of like that weird inclination of like, that sounds really cool. I'm just going to take a chance on it, has now turned into like, this Christmas Eve is coming up and I'm running the entire Christmas Eve service at church. And I feel like, you know, taking sometimes the weirdest chances on like the little, like the gut feelings that you have can turn into like these beautiful seeds, like water all the seeds, even the ones that you think might not grow, because they could grow.
Chances. Make experiences in your life other than school and stuff, you know?
Exactly. That's what's gonna make you like get out there, talk to the people, bring you closer to what you want to be doing.
Yeah, do something else.
Yeah. Other than school, and sometimes even other than work, like just go.
Absolutely.
You know, go to like a networking event, whatever that might be, farmer's market.
Start something. Start like a blog or whatever.
If it's like, start a blog, exactly.
Like sticker shop.
Yeah, genuinely. If you like ice skating, go talk to the people that like work there.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, anything like that.
Go.
If your passion is like
something.
Yeah. If your passion is like coffee making,
learn something new.
Yeah, just try something new. Try something new, even if it's just like seems so outlandish. Do it.
Like, get into like painting or something.
Yeah. Genuinely.
Or like I've been in my job for like 5.5 years now, and I'm leaving to be a nanny, and that's like something so different than because I worked in the food business, so it's something so different, and I just feel glad that I'm doing something else, because it's a step in a different direction. It's gonna give me new experiences, and it's something that I can grow up and be like, oh, I did this and this and this.
Yeah.
Like I have a more well-rounded view of things, and I've more knowledgeable in other areas.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so valuable, especially as you grow older.
You're so
to be like,
right.
I know how to do this. Like, that's so valuable, and not even for yourself, but for other people too. You can give better advice. You know,
yeah, you're so right.
You
Mary.
experience more as a human. I think that's honestly more important than even school and everything.
I totally agree.
Know more, get to know more, experience more, get out of your bubble a little bit, you know?
Yeah, totally get out of your bubble, step out of your circle a little bit. You know, I think what you said about like having those different experiences, like taking that chance and leaping, like every conversation you're going to have with somebody's going to be different and lead you to something different. And you're like, in that moment, you're going to be challenged to say something different or speak for yourself a little bit more. And that's what's going to get you to grow. Like, also, for example, I was working at the deli for a little bit. And then, I guess I am in the chemistry club, and my chemistry professor was like, hey, we're taking a tour at this lab. Like it's a biotech lab, you know, it's for an internship. And I was just like, okay, like I'll just go. Like you know, I don't really think anything's going to come of it. And then, you know, they also came to our school. Some representatives came to our school. Like, I was late to the meeting. Like, I didn't even really care. Like, I literally didn't care. And then, you know, they kept talking, and I was like, oh, actually, this is kind of cool. So then eventually, like, I applied for the internship, not thinking I was going to get it. Like, really not even, like, it was so behind me, just, like, whatever. And then eventually, like, next thing I know, like, now I work there part-time, and, like, it seems like a long-term thing. Like, I got internship credits from it, and like, you know, I have like, there's roots there, and there's like other paths too. Like, the opportunity now for me is like, I could quit school now and just work there. And like, that's the thing, like when you just do things that you think are interesting right now in the moment, like, and even if it's that one conversation, like if you like think, oh, I want to talk to them about this or ask them this one question, do it. If you feel that gut feeling in you, act on it, because that's your inner guidance saying, this is something that I want to do. Let me just like F everything else. Absolutely. And just do it, because it's what I want to do in the moment.
Absolutely. I think that what comes to you really is coming from a place of something.
It's like it's the inner knowing
being offered to you.
Yeah, it's that inner knowing of like, okay, this is a path I see. Like, it's like something just clicks and you see a path like forward, and you're like, okay,
absolutely,
that path looks really cool. Like, let me try it.
And it's not even you deciding; it's that thing that came to you
exactly in that moment, in the reality. Yeah.
And it's like there is a divine intelligence around us, and I truly believe that things are offered to you and things come to you for a reason.
Yeah, and we can tap into it. And you know, that divine intelligence, or God in a sense, is way more intelligent than us. So if we tap into that and trust God a little more and act on it,
and that way we can, you know, take the fruits from God, because God knows more than us,
and we'll see him.
Exactly.
We see, and then we see him working in our lives, and they're like, wow, we should trust that more often. We should run towards him, run towards that feeling. You know, what is that gut feeling that he made me speak that sentence?
And even if it's not even like a drawing, just be like, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But a lot of things
come to you. Or if it's an inclination to leave something.
Yeah, definitely.
If it's an inclination where you're like, okay, I don't feel good here anymore. This is not serving me. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
If you're like...
Or if it's even being forced out of your life, but you're trying to grab onto it more.
Yeah, that too.
No, just let it go.
It's important to listen to those things. Mm-hmm. It's important to be guided. It's important to like have that like... You know, it's hard to let go sometimes and see, like, kind of, like, spacily just, like, go with that inclination. But that is an inner knowing. That is definitely, like, there's intelligence there.
Absolutely. And I think the only thing that knows better than what we know for ourselves to be good is God. Yep. God knows what's best for us. And what's best for us maybe is not what we would want right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
you're right. Like, we can't see right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it might be a challenge. Like, our challenges are given to us to help us be better people. So some of these things are coming to you and from God. And maybe, you know, right off the bat, you're like, whoa, why would I ever do that? But then, you know, like your job, you were like, okay, maybe, this is kind of cool. And then you take it and you change in a way.
Right.
So
water even the seeds you don't think will grow. You know, water everything. Work on it all. Be happy. And
don't think about it too much. You know.
Yeah, it's not
that's definitely something I regret doing. Is if I could go back and say something to my younger self, it's just be like, don't worry. Just go to school for what you like, and just
go with the flow. Like let the things come to you. Let the paths align in front of you and then walk there. Or let the paths fall away from you. Let the paths crumble in front of you and walk away.
Let it be natural.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't worry, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Like, school is not the end of the all.
Exactly. Like, what's your job right now? What's your job right now? Well, how do you feel there? What makes you feel good there? What makes you feel bad there?
Just trust a little more.
How would you expand on something?
What can you see yourself
trust
trying really hard at and caring about and putting your energy towards?
Even if you think it doesn't look like a career, still think about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also keep, like,
right now, if it doesn't look like
the
career right now,
financial aspects of it in place too,
Yeah.
Make smart decisions, because I know a lot of the colleges are very expensive.
That's
and
true.
If you're going to away to a college and for something that, might not make a ton of money, not the best idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's be careful where we're putting our money in these colleges, because they really do scam you.
Yeah, it's important to pick the right school.
Absolutely.
And go there to learn, not to
Exactly.
The college life is
learn.
Or the college experience is a scam.
Absolutely.
Let's go over that. The college experience is a scam. Don't fall for it.
Absolutely.
It's a marketing ploy.
And be smart with your money.
College is to learn.
Students with thousands of dollars in debt. It's sad.
It's sad. Like
scam.
For example, I feel like I've seen people go to Penn State and they just go to party, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, we go to Camden County and people are there to learn.
Go to a community
strictly.
college. Like, do what's in your means, and do what's something that's smart. Do something you like, and make sure you have all that planned out too, because it's ridiculous. Some of these kids, it's sad.
It's sad because they of course that they're gonna fall for that. Mm-hmm. Of course they're gonna fall for the glamorous looking experience.
Yeah, it's like, can you afford that? Is
No.
that the best thing for you? Is
Right.
that So definitely.
And I feel like this is definitely like, our point of view, but I definitely feel like we're getting some, like, in some ways, a better education at Camden County for cheaper compared to some of these
Absolutely.
4-year schools for that exact reason, because, like, they put their money into other things, not necessarily the academics, and, then the students can get gypped in that way.
Yeah.
And,
or
like,
even it's the same too. I get a great education at Camden County College.
yeah.
And it's probably the same as or better than some of these other colleges.
I think it's harder.
You save so much money. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing education. I
Right.
learned how to write essays in college. My essay writing has changed.
That's amazing.
Like, incredibly.
Yeah.
And I owe it all to college. So
So like even if it's not like your major doesn't fit what you want to be doing the rest of your life, you're still gonna be learning.
Yeah.
Like, you're still gonna be learning the right
well-rounded.
skills, and everything that you're gonna go through is gonna make you who you are later.
Absolutely.
It's important.
Definitely.
Like what your situation is right now is good.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. I think too, if you have any other like questions, reach out.
Yeah. We're active on our Instagram page mostly, so
Yeah, mostly on Instagram.
or email if you would prefer that. But yeah, reach out, leave some comments down below in the Spotify comment section or on our posts, and we'll try to get back to you. Leave some feedback or anything you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, and
Thanks
we'll
for
see you
watching.
next week.
Love you guys.
Bye.